Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Vishaka Industries hosted by Anand Rathi Shares and Stock Brokers. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal for an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Manish Valecha from Anand Rathi Shares and Stock. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome you all to the 1Q FY22 results conference call of Vishaka Industries Limited. We have with us from the management Mr. Vamsi Krishna, Joint Managing Director, Mr. Shafiullah, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Vinay Batija, Head Investor Relations. I would now like to hand over the call to Mr. Krishna for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. A very good morning to everybody. Thank you all for joining and participating in our earnings call for Q1 FY22. We hope that all the participants and their families are doing safe and fine in this unfortunate COVID era. Taking the second wave into consideration and the prevailing ground situation during the Q1, our current quarter performance has been commendable. There were strict lockdowns in most of the country, but despite that, our teams worked really hard, and as a team, we remained resilient in our building material segment. Overall, if you see, we did get a good growth compared to the last quarter, previous year. The building product businesses contributed well this quarter as compared to the corresponding. The export segments of VNex are doing well. We expect to end up with healthy growth in the business throughout the year. The fourth plant is on its way to be operational, and we have had a month or so delay due to the COVID lockdown, and the same should start by December 2021. We are also expanding the AC sheet roofing segment capacity by 1 lakh metric ton at our Raebareli, Lucknow plant. In fact, we are the first to announce an expansion since the last 10 years in this industry, given that there has been quite a stagnation. The market for asbestos products is intact due to its affordability and utility to the lower income group, especially in the rural side. The second wave was much milder in the rural pocket. The demand for the product is sustained due to increase in the rural incomes. The higher steel prices have added advantage to booster the sale. The commodity cycle, as suggested by a few research firms, will be in for a considerable period. If you take a look at the VNex story, since the last 10 years, selling about 1,000 square feet a month to now about 1 crore square feet a month, almost 10 million square feet is what we have built. We've built a new brand called VNex, which has been very well accepted in the market. That business should grow close to 200 to 250 to 300 crores very soon in the coming years with good, healthy margins. In fact, it is becoming a product of choice for almost all new projects that we see today, be it Microsoft, Amazon, Marriott, or even Tata, L&T, and even the Dubai Expo projects, most of the Dubai malls and other parts of the world. We are seeing very good traction for that. In terms of affordable homes, we have been actively involved with UN to deploy some projects across the globe. And in terms of our network growth, we are right now operating almost 50% of the gypsum board network are in dealing with our product as well, and about 20% of the plywood network also is in our selling facility. So right now we are selling in more than almost 2,500 outlets throughout the country, and this business we see will be growing at around 25% overall. The synthetic yarn division experienced continuous pressure as both the main markets for these products in Bhiwandi in Mumbai and Bhilwara in Rajasthan have been closed for majority of the first quarter. Hence, the segment did not contribute as much as we would have liked it to. But as we know, the product potential and we see the traction coming back in the domestic market, especially in the international segment in markets like Europe. To add to that, in textiles, we are doing almost about 250 tons of sustainable yarn products. That is a completely new venture that we looked at. Just to give you an idea, it takes almost 14 PET bottles that go into one T-shirt post-recycling. So that is really the contribution that we can look at. We are trying to build value-added products in the same segment through the textile division. All have some sort of an interesting niche market play rather than a mass market play, which has been the core strength of our synthetic division. Coming to the Atom Solar Roof, I must say that it has been a very good, interesting journey for us since we launched. It has improved revenues compared to the previous quarter, previous year as well, and picked up momentum in segments like hospitals, pharmaceuticals, and data centers. Atom has established itself as a trusted product with its deployment across various segments in various parts of the country. In fact, I'm very happy to announce that we even got our South African patent post the last time we discussed. So now we have patents in India and in South Africa, and patent pending in the United States, Europe, and China. We are very optimistic about this product, considering the commitment of major national governments going towards renewable energy, especially after the G7 summit. Just to give you more insight in terms of what is going on in Atom, it is the first of its kind product in the world. Such a product didn't exist until Atom was born. The true utility of a long-lasting roof that generates clean and green power. It is an answer to all the pain points that are existing with the current rooftop solars, as we know. We have very strong clients that we've developed over the last 2 years with major players in the data center fraternity adopting Atom. And also we've done some projects with the railways. And we are getting repeat orders from many of our customers, which is always a good statement for a new product when it's launched. So the scope is huge in terms of sustainability, but sustainability doesn't sell. What we need to look at is the utility. So I'm happy to share that based on utility, the product is taking off very well. Sustainability part of it will be an additional add-on as awareness towards sustainability increase. So the product attributes are very strong, and we see a good, strong long-term growth in the same. And coming to the new initiative, as it's very evident that sustainability has been one of the core values of our organization. Our products and initiatives revolve around this central proposition. Our goal is to achieve a sustainable and environment-friendly future for all stakeholders. Our new initiatives, such as Atom Charge and Atom Life, which we've just announced a couple of months ago. To give you more info about it, Atom Charge is a self-sustaining solar-powered charging station, which will be set up across India and other parts of the world as we know it, to support the use of green power backing the electric revolution. Because Atom is a solar roof, every charging station needs some sort of an infrastructure and a roof. And what better than generating maximum output in a given area, which is exactly what Atom does. So Atom Solar Roof, with its clean and green power, will be the perfect fit to drive the entire green revolution in terms of adoption. wherein we can move to 100% of solar, where today people are unfortunately using thermal power, which is through the EB, to charge green mobility. Atom Charge is also looking at partnering with other interesting charging stations, wherein the product will be adding value to their solution. Atom Life is another interesting venture that we've launched. We are right now underway constructing the first one. It is basically a chain of experience centers where we'll be offering all eco-friendly, sustainable and green products under one roof. We plan to launch about 10 Atom Life stores, one in each metro, wherein people get an opportunity to understand and learn about what products we do, and not just limiting to our products. We will be associating with other sustainable products and bringing them together on one platform. So Atom Life will promote all sustainable products, making sustainable living accessible and easy to adopt. Coming to the financial performance, the total revenue of the current quarter is 350 crores compared to 286 crores of the previous year, same quarter, which is an increase of almost 22%. PAT for the quarter was 40 crores as compared to 34 crores, showing an increase of about 20%. The building product segment, the Q1 revenue was about 319 crores as compared to 271 crores in Q1 of last year, showing an increase of about 18%, while on a sequential basis, it grew by 6.5%. And the segment EBIT margins for the quarter were around 19.5%, a rise of 452 BPS sequentially. However, the same declined 310 BPS on a corresponding basis. The yarn Q1 business turned in a revenue of about 29.6 crores as compared to 13 crores in the previous year, same quarter, showing an increase, good increase of around 100%. However, we are looking at a much better situation for textiles as the year comes. The EBIT margins for this segment stood at about 11.5%. Our working capital cycle, the days have come down to 72 for the quarter from 76 days same period last year. This is due to the improvement in collections from customers and lower inventory period. The interest cost has come down from 3.9 crores in June last year to 3.3 crores this quarter. The net debt as on 30th June 21 is 52 crores as against 80 crores on June 2020, reduced by about 28 crores compared to the previous year. During the year, we are expecting both at Udmalpet and the roofing at Raebareli to start commercial production by December this year. The entire capex requirement for these units will be met through internal accruals. While the main contributor in this quarter has been the cement roofing business, the VNext and the textile have also contributed well. We expect these two businesses, along with Atom, to contribute significantly in the quarters to come. The building products to maintain margins during the current year, and the textile business by exploring new variants as we go. While the economy improves, we would wish to grow at a pace better than the economy. We wish to see you with an even better set of numbers going forward, given the strong foundation that we are looked at. We believe in building strong foundations, strong teams with a strong base that would help us create a good future for the products we undertake. Thank you, everybody. That was my opening note. Now, I think we are open for questions.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handset while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and one at this time. First question is from the line of Shanti Patel from Shanti Patel Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, what is the utilization capacity in respect of various products that we are manufacturing? Number two, what is our market share in respect of those products? And thirdly, what you expect the return on capital and return on equity as on 31st March 2022? That is 21-22 year. Hello.
In terms of, yeah.
Are you getting my voice?
Yeah. I'm just answering.
Okay.
So in terms of AC sheets, our market share is around 20% right now, and the capacity utilization for throughout the plant would be anywhere about 85% plus in the given situation. In terms of the VNET, we have a market share of almost about 35%. We are the largest players in that division in terms of drywall segment and the cement boards. And the capacity utilization for that as well is 85 to 90%, hence the new plant expansion that we have proposed. And with regard to Atom, it's a fairly new product, and in the roofing segment, we will be too negligible to look at in terms of market share. But since the new product, the overall growth of the product is what we are looking at, and this year I feel we should be anywhere between 40 to 50% in terms of capacity utilization, given the situation of COVID delays and other things. And with regard to the ROI, I think I will ask Mr. Shafi to comment on that.
Yeah, sir, I will answer. ROCE last year was around 20.31%. This year also, for the total year, it will be like that only. But first year it is little more because of the annualization factor. But ultimately we will end up by more than 20% ROCE. And the ROE also around 18% it will be there this year.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shreyans J from Quest Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. So first question is, in your building product segment, could you just help us understand, I understand there are 3 product categories in this segment. So just can you just help us understand which segment has grown at what rate?
Yeah, absolutely. So the roofing segment, this quarter we are seeing a growth rate of about 7 to 8%. And in terms of building materials, we will be seeing a growth rate of about 12 to 15% in the first quarter because of the lockdown situation. I think it will be not fair to look at last year's board growth to this year, because last year was completely shut for boards, and this year it was not the case throughout the country. We had only a couple of states which had complete lockdown. So I think next quarter onwards will be a good estimate, but we are looking at a growth rate of almost 25% and in boards and about 10% in AC overall.
Okay. So just wanted to get your sense on, from what I understand, the first quarter is supposed to be the best quarter for the AC sheets business. Now, you just said, you guys grew at about 7 to 8%. So, I mean, what I'm trying to understand is going forward, then are you expecting the growth rates to in fact come down even further?
No, I said we will be looking at a 10% growth from last year to this year for AC sheets.
Okay. And in terms of the business cycle, where are we? You know, from what I understand is every 3 years there are 2 years which are good for this AC sheets business. So and with the commodity prices, steel prices going up, do you think that there could be a change in the business in the sense that, you know, we might see next 3, 4 or maybe next 1 or 2 years having a good run for the AC sheets business?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So actually, if you see the past data, the industry has not grown at all in the last 10 years. In fact, the post-COVID situation last year got us a very good growth because of the shortage in the market that was created in Q1 last year. Following which, most of the Tier 2 markets where a lot of labor gone back into their Tier 2s, and the rural boost was very strong. So in view of that, we are predicting that we will be growing 10% compared to last year as well. I hope that answers your question.
All right. And in terms of margins, do you think we've hit peak margins or there is still scope for improvement in margins? And in terms of pricing, do you think we've been able to take any sense on price hikes?
So in terms of margins, I must say last year was one of the good years in terms of margins because we had a lot of advantages other than just the market, wherein we took a lot of internal changes in terms of how best we can optimize our outputs and performance. So that was one good reason that contributed to margins apart from the general market demand as well. This year, due to the increase in raw materials, we are seeing that we should maintain the margins for now. I don't think they will increase further because the market is at play normal again. So I don't think we should be looking at further increase, but definitely maintain what we have achieved. That is what the outlook is for now.
And so just last question from my part. You spoke about expansion in your capacity, so that 1 lakh metric ton is in the AC sheets that you're going to do?
Yes, 1 lakh in the AC sheet, roofing sheet, and about 70 to 80,000 in the boards. So the roofing sheet expansion is happening in Lucknow, and the boards expansion is happening in Udmalpet in Coimbatore.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, sir. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shubham Agarwal from Equitas India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, team. Sir, firstly, my question was regarding the asbestos business. So in presentation, you talked about geographical expansion and also on the 1 lakh ton expansion of capacity. So if we see the market leader has taken a completely different view of not allocating any further capital in this business. However, we have taken a different route along with one more player in this industry. So what's our justification of allocating more capital to this business?
So first of all, I think if you really look at our numbers, we are having good growth rates, and the highest contribution out of any business still to date is coming from this business. And in terms of market supply, as you know, we are predominantly a south-based plant, having the most capacities in the south-based. And the growth that we see today is going to come majorly from the rural part of the country. And by rural, I mean we are expecting good growth rates in the northeastern segment and in places like Jharkhand, Bihar, where our capacities are not as much as other players in those areas. So to capture the market, which we are right now not catering to, that is a move that we have taken. And we are confident that this expansion will be a very good fit in the overall scheme of things in terms of increasing our market and the volume that we do. So that is the reason that we have taken that call.
And what's the total capital that we are allocating for 1 lakh ton?
So both plants put together will be about 150 crores, about 80 crores in the boards plant, and about 70 crores in the roofing plants. It's a brownfield expansion. It's not a greenfield project. In fact, we have already started the work in the same facility as our previous plant. So there will be a lot of other advantages that we are looking at in terms of operations with this expansion.
Right. And sir, on the current market situation in asbestos, so is the demand similar to last year? Because last year I think the demand was shifted a bit in second quarter. But are we seeing similar kind of demand, and how is the realization panning out? Is there softening of prices?
So I think one important thing that needs to be highlighted here is that if you take a look at the industry 4 to 5 years ago, all of us were we were in a very panicked situation because of the entry of steel sheets.
Right.
There was a huge competition from steel sheets where the price difference was hardly 5 to 10%. And that's where we saw major shift happen from a rural roofing of cement to steel. Over the last 5 years, people have learned that utility point of view in the rural residential market, metal sheets are not the right fit in terms of product utility. What I mean by that is when you can't live in a metal box. In terms of a roof, the heat transfer is very high when you look at a metal roof compared to a cement sheet. When it rains, the sound that metal sheets generate is way high. It's practically impossible to stand or live under a metal roof when it's continuously raining. And the overall cool effect of a cement roof compared to a metal sheet gives a lot of advantages to an end consumer. So that 4-year, 5-year cycle where people have seen this, the utility fit of the product, though there was a lot of attraction for the blue-colored sheets, which shifted away from cement roofing, today people are realizing the utility point of view for a residential application, which is our core strength today in the rural markets. That is coming back into the market. That's point number one. Point number two, with regard to the life of the product, if you really see, once you set up a cement roof, it stays. There's no issue in terms of rusting. There's no other issues in terms of what metal goes through. So there is another learning that has happened in the market where people have seen a cycle of 3 to 4 years, where residential retail market is realizing that this is the right fit of the product, and we are seeing the demand and growth in the same fashion. So these are two main points. And the third main point is the price difference as we know it. Today steel sheets have gone through the roof. The prices are exorbitant. In fact, the difference between a roofing sheet of cement versus steel is anywhere between 20% to 22%. So that is really what we are seeing as a good opportunity wherein the business will do well given the rural demand.
Right. No, sir, fair enough. And we are all aligned to this theory. Sir, secondly, on the yarn division, so if I can see the production number in first quarter was pretty healthy. I think the utilization level was more than 90%. And so are we anticipating pent-up demand in Q2 and going forward, or how is it?
No, so actually, this is actually a decision that we've taken where in terms of new product categories, right? So we don't want to starve the market, or even though Q1 was not the case where we had to cut down or take any cuts because of no market. What we are planning is to do different trials with new products. So in view of that, we didn't want to slow down anything. We've taken a decision to increase, and we are confident that in the next 6 months to 8 months, all of that will be in a good shape. The decision that we are taking in terms of new product development, it will all fit in place.
Right. And on the boards and panel division, so you said what is our current capacity utilization? Last quarter average was 74, correct?
Yeah. So like I said, last quarter, into random pockets in the country being in lockdown. So I'll just give you an example. Though we've done reasonably well in the asbestos roofing division, The Paramati plant, which is in Tamil Nadu, was completely shut for the majority of Q1 simply because there were high COVID cases in that area, in that district. So no matter what we did, there was a very strict government law enforced that there is no factory going to run in that district. Whereas in our neighboring districts, with our competitors, there are no such issue, and they were allowed to function. So this type of thing happened even in the boards, wherein few markets were completely sealed off, and few markets were open. So we got a net reasonable push out in terms of both the roofing and board. Going forward, we see a good demand uplift happen in any case. That is what has happened.
Okay. So we are expecting to again go back to Q4 level of revenue run rate from this quarter onwards.
Absolutely. For both the products, roofing and boards, I think we should be doing reasonably well because the demand is back. As the market is open, the demand is back. We don't see any issue with this.
Perfect. And sir, lastly, on the new initiatives, so you talked about V-Solution, Autumn Charge, and Autumn Life. So broadly, I would like to understand what is our key milestone over the next 2 to 3 years, and what kind of capital are we planning to put in such division?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea, I would like to highlight a point that whatever in new initiatives we have taken, I think it is pertinent to mention that you will see that all of the new initiatives are pushing our traditional businesses that we have gone into. What I mean by that is in terms of VNext solutions, wherein we are taking direct orders from corporates. Let's say Mahindra or Life Spaces or Tata or L&T are doing expansions. We want to be associated with them directly rather than giving just a single board. And that is where the value will be in the future as well, where we have direct connects with the top brands across the country. Saying any expansion, any construction that they would like to do, they should just be like all the VNext guys and get it done. So that is really the aim and goal that we are trying to achieve with VNext solutions. We have also developed a very simple and easy to use app wherein you can order a commercial space, a factory, or even your residential space with a touch of a button through the app. And all you need to do is interact with the VNext guy. We will take care of all the service part in terms of the back end, and we will be a one-point contact. So that is real value add that we will be looking at in terms of VNext solutions. And I must say we are getting reasonably good acceptance in the market. We've started with a few projects in Q1, and we have a good plan for the year going forward. With regard to the charging stations, in fact, I'm sure all of you are seeing in the news that a lot of these startups and new companies are announcing charging stations. The problem with that is that if they are dependent on EV power and if they are dependent on non-renewable resources of power, the entire exercise of going green is futile. So that is where Atom comes in as a beautiful fit. Any charging station would require a roof, and that roof, if it generates power, what better in terms of clean and green power. So an Atom generates close to 20 to 40% more power compared to any solution available in the market today. And that is really what we are trying to get. Atom Charge as a business will be very interesting. The model that we are working on, we'll be very happy to share details in person, as it's an interesting project that we are working on. But overall, if you see as a business model and also as a point of concept where people can see how Atom performs in terms of creating a completely sustainable cycle. So that is with regard to Atom Charge. So going forward, if you see Atom charging stations across, you will know that, okay, this is actually what Atom can do. And we're also using VNext to create the entire infrastructure. So they also become a display point, not just running it as a business on its own, which we are planning, but they also become a very good display center points for us across the country. Atom Life, on the other hand, is another effort that we are trying to do, wherein most people ask what kind of applications that can be done with VNext? What can we do with Atom? So there are different type of customers where we keep interacting with, and we felt that Atom Life would be something to cater to the future, in terms of the future is or has to be sustainable. If we are not adopting sustainability in the future, there may not be a future in terms of what we are seeing with regard to the pollution that we have, with regard to the CO2 issues. So Atom Life will be like an enabler to help people adopt sustainable products. And if you take a look at VNext boards, which is hardly 36 kgs of carbon emissions compared to one ton of carbon emissions in terms of concrete, almost 800 kgs in terms of plywood, and 2 tons in terms of steel. So we will be pushing such eco-friendly options. We will be pushing VNext solutions through Atom Life. So this will become like a point of experience in terms of what all products we can explore and deploy in the market. So all in all, what we are trying to do is create models wherein we can push our back-end products of Atom, VNext, sustainable clothing, so on and so forth. So that is really the intent with which we are working on. I gave you a brief idea of what we are looking at.
No, fair enough, sir. And any capital allocation that we have in mind for the stores?
So to start with, for all three businesses, we are looking at about 50 crores to start with.
Okay.
And then we will see how the deployment initiatives, how aggressive we go in terms of deployment. So to start with, that would be the number, yeah.
Okay. And sir, lastly, on the raw material side, so how are the current key raw materials like cement, fiber, and pulp prices trending for us? And do we see any margin pressure going ahead?
So actually, that was what happened in Q1. We did see an increase in the cost across our various raw materials, and that has been factored in terms of the increases that we see already. Going forward, I think we should be fine. We are not expecting that there will be further increases in any of the things for now.
Fair enough. That's it from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kush Gangar from Care PMS. Please go ahead.
If you can share what was the reason for YOY margins decline in fiber cement sheet? Was it primarily due to rising raw material costs? Because some portion of operating leverage would also have played a part. So.
Yeah. I think you've already answered my question. It is for both.
Okay. And did we take any price hike during the quarter?
We did get about 5 paisa price hike overall in the first quarter, 5 to 8 paisa price hike per square feet per annum.
Okay. And if you can share some details about the channel inventory, I heard from someone that the current inventory is quite low due to strong demand witnessed during the quarter. So, is it lower versus normal season, or if you can share some color?
I'm not sure. Can you please repeat?
The stocks with dealers, are they low versus normal season, or I heard from someone that the stocks currently are quite low due to strong demand.
Yeah. I think compared to last year, last year would be not a good comparison, unfortunately, because last year has been complete shutdown, and the offtake that we saw was a big boom happen as soon as the lockdowns were lifted. We are not seeing such a great situation this year in terms of the pent-up demand, because the demand is normal as the lockdowns were. As the lockdowns were in few pockets. But overall, I think definitely there is a product reduction of stock overall. We are actually trying to push as much as we can to meet the market demand. So actually, we are eagerly waiting for the fourth plant also. In view of all this, we wish we had launched commenced production way earlier than December. Yeah.
Okay. So basically demand is quite strong. So do we expect that plant to reach 100% utilization when? In 6 months time, 3 months time?
I think, yeah, the fourth plant, I think we are just waiting every day for the plant to start production. I think within 6 months that plant should be achieving full capacity for sure.
Okay. And considering rising steel prices, which is our competing product, so how do we price our product? So do we price based on our raw materials, or do we also have a element where steel price go up by 10%, we will increase our price by 5%. So how does the pricing play?
So actually very interesting question. So first off, as you know, it's completely dependent on market conditions in terms of how much we can push. But given the category that we are in and the market that we cater to, we are a poor man's product. And I don't think we should forget that even if, the increase between steel sheets and us increased by 25-30%, we will try our best to ensure that we get the best pricing in terms of market demand. But keeping in view that it is a poor man's product, ultimately it is going to affect the demand if the prices go off the roof. So we will have to find an equilibrium as always.
Okay. And considering all the factors you mentioned with regards to the growth, reason for growth in fiber cement sheet, do we expect a sustainable period of growth, say for the next 3-5 years? Earlier, what happened, the industry would grow for 1-2 years, then they would not grow. So for the next 3-5 years, do you expect a high single digit type of growth in this industry?
In the roofing sheet?
Yeah, roofing. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is what we are looking at. Definitely. I think that this year 10%, and definitely we will be looking at a good period in terms of AC sheet. In terms of VNext also, we are looking at a good outlook. We are quite bullish about how that product has taken off. The last 10 years effort, I think, is coming into picture now, wherein random site visits that we do, we see our product being deployed in use. So definitely we would be backing that and be quite bullish about it. Yeah.
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nimesh Desai from Kitara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. You mentioned that asbestos sheets are, there's a difference between almost of 20% and the steel sheets. But could you share some idea what is our ASP this quarter or this year for our sheets?
I didn't hear you.
Could you throw some light on what are the average selling price of the sheets of maybe this quarter or maybe last full year?
So what we are seeing is in terms of as the average, I think it will be tough to give you because the overall market will be there. But I give you a rough estimate. Like I said, we will be around 20% price gap between the steel sheets and us. I think the steel is trading around 500 rupees running meter is what we are seeing today.
Okay. And do you also see competition coming from fiber roofing?
Fiber roofing?
Yeah, fiber sheets, yeah.
No. So the markets that we cater to, I think it is the guys who are shifting from thatched roof up to upgrade. So fiber sheets will not be our competitor. Actually, our main competition will be mainly with steel sheets. It was mainly with the galvanized steel sheets,
right,
which was disrupted because of the steel sheet pricing capability that they had 4-5 years ago. That we are not seeing anymore because of, like I explained, the utility point of view from the customer side. And also the steel sheet supplier side, the pricing has drastically increased. So that is where we stand.
Okay. And on our VNext products, so I understand that we are substituting a lot of competition, that is your plywood and then MDF. But could you share that what is our price differentiation in terms of what gap we enjoy vis-a-vis those products?
Unfortunately, we are selling at 50% of the cost of branded plywood today. So the scope is huge in terms of how best we can get the product established and get better pricing for sure.
And versus MDF? What is MDF?
So I'll give you an example. If V-neck boards are around 50 rupees, MD around 60 rupees, 65 rupees, and plywood will be around 100 rupees. That is pretty much what we are looking at. And we are attacking the plywood guys in every corner in terms of the drywall is concerned. We are attacking the gypsum board guys where they need impact resistant boards because gypsum can't take the impact. And we are hitting quite strong in the termite aspect in terms of the plywood again, in terms of fire. So all these advantages people are noticing. And with the COVID migration that has happened, the labor migration that has happened, people are also paying attention to the labor costs that are going up in terms of labor requirements compared to traditional constructions. V-boards are much faster, much less manpower required to finish the job. So these are the advantages that are coming out in the open today, in the trade, to the consumer, where people are appreciating the utility of the product. So that is the change that is happening right now.
All right. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Shanti Patel from Shanti Patel Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Sir, you replied my first question, but I'm a little puzzled in the sense that in the current year, that is 21-2, our production will go up, our sales will go up, our margins will be maintained. Taking into consideration all this, profit after tax has to go up. And if that goes up, our return on equity has to go up. So can you throw some light on that?
Hello?
Yes.
So debt we are right now we have got surplus amount with us. So for all our capital requirements, we will not be using any borrowings from outside. So our equity will go up. Equity will not go up, but profit will go up. But
correct.
Based on that,
if the equity is not going up, profit will go up. So return on capital, return on equity has to go up as compared to the previous year.
Maybe little bit.
Am I right?
Yeah, it can be. So 2-3% like
it has to be, no?
Yes, it will be for some.
So approximately how much it will go up?
See, if you calculate 110 crores, no? See, the equity means again you need to work out the reserves also. So 110 crores, if you take 110 crores, our equity is almost 650 now. It will become 750 or something. 110 by 750. It will be.
We would actually, calculate it and get back to you on a personal note on this and explain you the entire working on it rather than taking this on a call. Right?
Yeah.
We will surely do that.
No problem. But then how will you contact me? I mean, how to?
No,
I will definitely reach you.
Okay.
I will definitely reach you. Don't have to worry about that. I will definitely reach you.
And next is, who are our main competitors?
In which segment are you talking about?
Asbestos.
So in the roofing, it's HIL, Ramco, Everest. These are the 3 main guys that we compete with.
What about Sahyadri Industry?
Yeah, sorry?
Sahyadri Industry, it is a small one compared to us, or?
Sahyadri Industries is actually a regional player. His capacities are very small compared to the big 4 guys that we always keep comparing with, HIL, Everest. They are a regional player. They do in the western region mainly. That is their
Hello, Mr. Shanti Patel.
Yeah, right.
See, if you take that same profit, same 110 crores or something, and equity of 650 plus 110, it will be around 15% it will come.
So return on equity comes to 15%.
Yeah. Because results will go up now.
Right, but what was the return on equity last year?
It was 17.65.
So then it is going down.
Yeah, because results will go up now. If profit, because profit will be same figure this year also, and your results will go up.
No, because of the expansion, because of the turnover, because of our more sales will go up.
No, it is not linked. No, by the profit.
We will come back to it. There are questions awaiting. We will work on it and we will come back to you, sir. Please.
Yeah.
CFO, sir, we will go back to him. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll move to the next question. The next question is from the line of Sarika Guska, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead. Sarika, you may go ahead with the question.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So capex for FY22?
Yeah, 150 crores, as I mentioned, 80 for Udmalpet plant in Coimbatore and about 60 in the Lucknow plant that we plan in the north.
So we are not incurring 50 crores for 3 businesses this year itself?
That will be for the new businesses of 50 as well. That will be in a staged manner. These are the large chunks that will be happening. 50 will be spread up to, I think, maybe over the year. Yeah, about another year.
Okay. So probably out of this 150 crores, do we expect the returns to be in the range of 220 crores, an asset turnover of, say, 1.5 times?
Yeah, so for both the businesses, we are looking at a return on investment for about 4 years. That's what we are looking at right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and of the 1.8, combining the boards and the AC capacity, how much would be available for FY22?
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
Of the new capacity which we are putting up and would be available by December this year, how much would be available for sales for FY22?
Oh, about I think it's about 50%, because it would take almost about 6 months to hit full capacity in terms of output. So for this year, you can take maybe 3 to 4 months, maybe 1 quarter of thing in terms of about 60 to 70% of the plant capacity utilization, because the streamlining has to happen. It will probably take about 2 to 3 months for that.
So probably if the demand is strong enough, could we expect another 60-70 crores to be added to the top line?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think okay, I got what you're saying. So the full addition in terms of turnover will be about 80 crores from Udmalpet and about 100 crores in the Lucknow plant. So 80 plus 100. The total 180 crores you should be seeing by the end of next financial year. This financial year, I think you can take anywhere between 60 to 80 crores. That will be on a little higher side, but yeah.
All right. So coming back to the building products segment, probably aren't we conservative when we talk of the 10% growth rate for FY22?
Oh no, actually for the roofing segment, there has been no growth in the last 10 years. If you really see, the numbers have been under 5%, the growth rates for the roofing segment, because it's been quite
But the boards and the VNext has been contributing to that segment.
Boards we will grow about 25%. Boards we are looking at 25%.
So if we are putting up the new capacities as well, and if 70 crores is also added, it's definitely upwards of 1100.
Definitely.
Because if we are taking the price increase as well, taking into consideration the raw material price increases,
definitely.
Be passed on.
Yeah, right on that. Yeah.
Okay, and for the synthetic yarn division, when do we expect the revenues to be in the range of say 50 crores, upwards of 50 crores?
So actually, we should be doing if the contribution from textiles on a good year is anywhere between 200 to 250 crores. This year we are trying to come back to normalcy. So 60% of our business depends on the school segments. Actually, the whole COVID disruption it definitely impacted the textile division in terms of the Mumbai market, which is our majority of almost upwards of 65% of market share. That definitely did impact us. So we are eagerly waiting for the school segment to get back. In the meantime, we are also looking at new products, as I mentioned, in terms of new solutions.
So precisely now that we already have the new avenues available for us, haven't we already fixed up and tied up with the export market for the newer avenues, which would support and bring back the revenue rate to upwards of 200 crores for this fiscal?
Yeah, that is what we are targeting. But the problem with that is in terms of new product development, it always takes time. But we are still confident that we should get in around 200 plus this year from textiles also, given that once the situation stabilizes, and we are hearing talks from the market that the market will be back to normal and maybe Q2, end of Q2 onwards. So that, yeah, we should be looking at a good, but definitely better than last year, for sure.
Okay. So coming to the new avenues, which we actually are looking for investments, if we can talk about the size of the opportunity, the execution time frame, the investments to go into it, and the return expectations for the three divisions. Yeah.
I actually I was wanting to have a video presentation for this kind of a call. I'd be very interesting if we can get on it. We have a lot of calculations and a lot of interesting deployment strategies that we have. So I will be very happy to share that on a one-on-one call basis to explain what exactly we are doing.
So how soon that could be?
Yeah.
So how soon can that be, sir?
I'm sorry, for the call you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mr. Vinay, can you please fix up with interested parties? We can have a video presentation on a Zoom call where we can explain what new initiatives that we are doing. I think that we'll be very happy to do that. Yeah, I'll request my colleague Mr. Vinay to set that up here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Asim Balde from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, team. I have a general application-led question for VNext. See, I think in VNext, the issue was that it is heavy in comparison to, plywood and MDA. So can you illustrate for which applications can VNext be used for residential purposes? Is it more for like paneling type of walls or roofs, or can furniture like tables, units also be made for that?
Yeah, so great question. So first off, the product is definitely of higher density because we do make it like that for giving impact resistance compared to any of the others you've mentioned. Definitely we will be having higher density. And the applications that we are doing right now, which are almost 25% of our applications, if you see based on our overall sale, in drywalls and wall cladding. So typically where plywood goes in terms of wall cladding or gypsum board goes in wall cladding, gypsum board, and plywood, they are very prone to plywood termites. And they get really destroyed when exposed to wet areas or water, and that is where we score high. That is where we are seeing a lot of transition happen from plywood, gypsum, MDF even to our products. In terms of wall paneling and drywalls, definitely we are one of the top sellers in that segment. In terms of false ceiling, where in wet area condition, where gypsum board has been a dominant product over the years, there we are entering in a very strong way. In fact, the residential apartments that you see today, like Alliance Group, Shobha Developers, and Purvankara, and Panshield from Pune, most of them are using our products quite extensively in wet area prone applications. So these are the main pockets that we are entering into. And in the kitchen segment, where plywood is used very extensively, there in terms of the fire and the termite issues, definitely scores way higher than them. That is another application where we are seeing very good traction as well. So these are the main applications. In markets like Kerala, where we are having very high market share and a very high brand recall. They are also using us as roof underlay. Basically, as you may be knowing, Kerala has a lot of slope roofs. And in all those sloped roofs, under the Saint-Gobain shingle mat, the waterproof mat that they sell as an exterior roofing material, they go perfectly well with our cement boards. So they put cement boards, V-Next boards, and on top of that, they cover it off with a shingle mat. So that is another application that is doing really well. And in markets like Mumbai, of course, where we sell quite a lot in terms of mezzanine flooring, that is also another 15 to 20% of our overall sale. So these are the applications to give you an idea.
So is it fair to say that in V-Next, you're basically not competing with traditional furniture? So from what I understand, plywood and even MDF to that matter, a great extent of that is used for traditional furniture than wall units or rather not wall units, rather cladding and decoration of flooring purposes. So would that be a fair statement that your and plywood markets are different per se?
I will slightly differ on that. So fixed furniture, if you look at fixed furniture and car cases, right? So the back part of the shelves or the furniture and the sides of the furniture, that all market is being replaced by cement boards, V-Next boards.
Cement boards.
Because those are prone to termites. Those are prone to getting, split. The layers of plywood or whatever MDF gets destroyed in that. There, V-Next really has an advantage.
More of a fixed application, that's where V-Next has a advantage. Absolutely. Things that you won't have to move on a daily basis.
Correct.
Okay. And just one more question. Is there any R&D or any development being done to make V-Next boards more easier to work in residences or more lightweight? Any work being done over there?
Absolutely. I think very, very personal point to note that from last 10 years, if you see, the product has changed a lot in terms of workability, in terms of usage. Many of the issues that we had in the first year of launch to today, we have a complete understanding of how to, we've upgraded our systems, we've given better solutions. So there's a constant upgrade that keeps happening if you track us over time also in terms of product usage. We are working on creating different product mixes for different product applications. So as you rightly said, sometimes the density is higher. So to give you an example, for a false ceiling application, I don't need to give such a high density material. So there we are giving less dense material compared to an impact prone wall, which would need higher density. So we are doing these kind of R&D and deploying products based on that, yeah.
Okay. And so just final question, rather just more of a clarification. I think you mentioned for roofing, your medium-term growth outlook is high single digits, and for boards, you said about 25% annual growth rate, right?
Yes, yes.
And this, when you say medium term, is that like a 5-year period, or is it like a 5 to 10 year long period that you expect?
I think to be very honest, I mean, personally, I don't look at 10-year periods because the markets are so dynamic. Definitely for the next 5 years, I think we will be seeing some sort of a high single-digit growth in the roofing segment for sure. Yeah.
And on boards, is the 25%?
Boards, definitely, I think 25% should carry on, because in the last 2-3 years also, if you've seen, we have been constantly growing at around 20-25%. We are also setting up a panels unit along with our Udmalpet facility also to push the drywall concept. So definitely, I think for boards in the next 5 years, we should be seeing good growth of around anywhere between 20 plus 25% onwards. Yeah.
Great. Okay, sir. Thanks for answering my questions, and congratulations for a very good set of results. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to ask questions. The next question is from Rahul Majetia, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. What I wanted to know was, what are the key raw materials for which the input costs are on a higher trend? And do we have any long-term protection or hedge against the possible rise in these raw material costs that may emerge in the next couple of years?
Great. Thank you. And so to answer to your question, I think for the roofing business is asbestos, obviously. That is one of the major raw materials that we have to keep watching out. And in terms of boards, it is the pulp cost. So for both these, we actually have a very good R&D team that keeps updating themselves in terms of how to reduce, because as you rightly said, the prices for these two products which affect the entire costing of our product range. From a manufacturer's point, we always try to balance out our raw mixes and the developments that we do. So the effort is continuously on. In fact, though there have been severe price hikes on both fronts, if you see our margins and if you see our achievements, they are still on par because of our extensive R&D that we do in terms of finding out alternate sources to neutralize that. So that is one activity that is personally monitored to ensure that we do come with a good balance of raw mix and not be too dependent and get too affected. But having said that, asbestos and pulp are main products that will be having this trend. It is part of the business, and we are looking at how best we keep upgrading ourselves. So I hope
so
that
in the building product section, in the big building product segment, how much of your total cost is actually based on imported raw materials? A fraction of the cost?
No, that's not the fraction of the cost. That it is a major part which we keep managing all the time. Yeah.
If it's more than 50% of the cost of the building product section?
I would not like to give out that number because every company has their own unique USP mix. To give you an idea, it's almost like a recipe. What recipe I use for my roofing sheets to what recipe I use in my boards. That will be hard to share with you.
Do you have a long-term contract with the supplier of these materials, let's say a quarter or 2 quarters of long-term contract?
Yes, we do have such. We have various contracts, but we do have in those terms. I think each company has their own strategy in terms of how to get the best out of it. But I would like to definitely share that throughout the industry, if you do look at the raw material things, we will be the lowest in terms of the raw material costs overall, if you see.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the last question in queue. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management team for closing comments.
So thank you everybody for attending. I think it was a very interesting call, and I do understand and appreciate the questions that were raised, and I will be very happy to address a follow-up call. I will request my colleague Mr. Vinay to definitely set that up so that we give more clarity in terms of the few questions that we said we'll take it offline. And once again, want to reassure all of you that we are trying to create something that people will value, and we will do our best in terms of how innovative we can make sustainability going forward for India. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Anand Rathi Share and Stock Brokers, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect your lines.